Imagine it's 2009 and you're a budtender. Your job is to sell products that are not in child-proof packaging. These products have no labeling, no potency requirements, they have no ingredients, and you're not even charging taxes. Your job as a budtender in 2009 is to purchase pounds of cannabis from the black market off the street from whoever would walk in and sell it to you, and retail this product to medical marijuana patients as medicine. I know that this was the experience in 2009 because this is exactly what I experienced every single day as a budtender in 2009. I think we can all agree that our industry is much better today, and thank goodness for that. But my goal is to make this industry become even better than it is now. My name is Max Montrose, founder of the Trichome Institute, author of the National Cannabis Industry Textbook Series, and creator of the Interpreting and Tag program. We all know this industry pulls in billions of dollars every year. But many of us neglect to realize where these billions of dollars are transacted. Is it doctors and pharmacists who dispense medicine to sick people? No, it's budtenders. They are the spearhead of our entire industry. Yet how equipped are they to hold this position? I want you to imagine two different dispensary scenarios with me. The first is a group of dudes. They're on a road trip and they're driving up from Texas to go check out a concert at Red Rocks in Colorado. And these dudes must stop at a dispensary on their way. It's kind of like visiting Amsterdam in their own backyard. How could they not? And so these dudes are so pumped to buy all of these cannabis products that they've seen on TV. And per their budtender's recommendation, they purchase a 250 milligram chocolate bar, the budtender's favorite strain, Bubba Kush, an eighth Bubba Kush, and they also purchase a gram of wax to dab. I want you to imagine a completely different dispensary scenario. Two parents see something on TV about parents similar to them where their child has hundreds of epileptic convulsions every day. Yet these parents found a 95% reduction in their child's epileptic seizures through some sort of exotic form of medical marijuana. And so these parents, in an attempt to save their child's life, quit their jobs, move their entire family to Colorado, become medical marijuana refugees. Whose job is it to guide these parents on what products their child should use and how they should use it? Has this budtender gone through a sufficient layer of responsible vendor training? I'm from Colorado. And in Colorado, you have to be trained, licensed, and certified to paint fingernails. You're not even legally allowed to wash hair without being trained, licensed, and certified. Tattoo artists, piercers, massage therapists, back rubs to painting fingernails, you need to be licensed. You need training. And the reason why is because this business affects human health. Today, right now, in my state, we have 13,000 untrained, unlicensed, and uncertified budtenders selling psychoactive gummy bears to the public. So what types of training do budtenders get? It depends on the dispensary and it depends on the state. Usually, any amount of training is in-house training. And this training covers POS systems, store check-ins, and the day-to-day business operations. It is unbelievably rare to find a dispensary operation who trains their budtenders on the chemical differences between their products that they sell and how they're made. Believe it or not, most dispensaries don't have their employees go through any kind of training whatsoever. And so there's these cannabis schools that are popping up left and right, online, in person, these traveling road shows, $200 to $300 bud tending certifications, literally teaching people nothing. You have no idea how many people come up to me to tell me how pissed off and frustrated they are when they spent $200 to $300 on a Budtender certification course that just had stuff that was researched on Google or stoner forums online. And so I look at the state of current cannabis education and training today as the Three Little Bears story. The vast majority of current cannabis education is porridge that is way too cold. This is cannabis education that is recycled stoner information from online that is outdated and not even true or accurate, not even close. This is the vast majority of what we have to work with today. There's an easy way to avoid getting sucked into one of these scenarios, though. And it's critical that you ask your cannabis trainer, who has reviewed and approved your curriculum? Do you have any government certification or accreditation on your curriculum? How many years have you spent in this industry doing what, and what is your layer of experience and expertise to teach and train my people how to do this job? That's how you avoid these joker education systems, okay? The other type of cannabis information that's currently out there is cannabis information that is way too hot. Yes, thank God that doctors, scientists, and nurses are finally starting to study trichomes, cannabinoids, terpenes, the entourage effect, the endocannabinoid system. But after studying cannabinoid pharmacokinetic pharmacology, do you think you could walk into a dispensary and tell these customers the medical difference between live resin and shatter? No. These doctors have no idea what types of medical products are available to their patients, how they're made, how they work, and what they're called. They don't have a clue. Do you think Sanjay Gupta could tell you the difference between safe and unsafe dabbing? Do you think Sanjay Gupta or any doctor who writes their patient a medical marijuana recommendation could look at two different pieces of flower and determine, based by looking at them and smelling them, the difference between the psychotropic effects? The answer is absolutely not. But level 2 interpreters absolutely can. We can talk about that later. So what would the perfect porridge look like? What is that? The truth is that dispensaries do have to have in-house training. And the reason why is because there's no way a school could train employees on how your business runs, okay? Every business is different. So yeah, you have to have in-house training, train your employees how your business works. It is the POS system, it is the door check-ins, and it is the day-to-day business. But it is the responsibility of an education company to train the staff on the much more complicated and technical aspects of the job. How to responsibly vend psychoactive gummy bears to society. This type of training should be reviewed and approved by the highest authorities in cannabis law, science, and medicine. The curriculum should be developed by people who have spent years in this industry and who know what they're doing, not cannabis education companies who just found out this is a new way to make some good money, okay? The perfect porridge is a type of education that would train budtenders on how to assess your patients and your customers' tolerant level, each of them, to understand how these products are made, how they work, and then combine that information so that you effectively sell a product to someone who they understand how it's going to affect them and how it works. That's what the perfect porridge would look like. Like I said, I'm from Colorado, and there we have a dramatic increase in ER visits and hospitalizations from edibles alone. And it's probably because we don't have any training for these budtenders that teaches them how edibles work differently from all other cannabis products. And so, as an example of what responsible vending education might look like, I'm going to teach you how edibles work. So we all know about THC. And we know that after it's decarboxylated, we have the active version, delta-9 THC. We all know this. All of us industry members in here, at least. But delta-9 THC is only fat and alcohol soluble, which is why it works great when you cook it into butter and then make brownies or cookies or cupcakes out of these things, because delta-9 THC is quite shelf-stable in its active form held in these fats. But we're made out of water. And when we ingest products, we have to excrete the excess out in a water base. So when you digest any amount of THC, whether it's a liquid, a chocolate bar, or a pill, every time it moves through your liver must make this molecular structure water soluble. So your liver transforms the molecule into a new molecule, the first metabolite of delta-9 THC, 11-hydroxy-THC. 11-hydroxy-THC is a different molecule. And therefore, when your cannabinoid system takes it in, it works differently. Because you digest it, it takes time for it to take effect. But we all have different digestive systems, and we all have different rates of metabolism. Did you have food in your stomach at the time you ate your edible or not? Edibles are unpredictable because they affect everyone differently, because we're all different and we digest differently. This is critical to know. Some edibles take 20 minutes to take effect, some 2 hours. Science tells us it can take all the way up to 6 hours to take effect, and there's a large population of people where 11-hydroxy doesn't affect them whatsoever. So if your patients say, I try edibles, they just don't work, chemically that's very possible. The experience of 11-hydroxy can become exponential. It can become 2 to 6 times stronger. It can last 2 to 6 times longer, and the effect ebb and flows. These are critical pieces of information to relay back to your customer when selling them these types of products. So, teaching people how to be safe doesn't really have to be complicated. My hands have never been burned, because people who cared for me at one point in my life sat me down and said, you know what? If you touch that stove, bad things are going to happen. I sat, I listened. I just haven't touched a hot stove before. Many of us in here have survived not being annihilated by oncoming traffic, because at one point in time, someone sat us down and said, you know, before you cross the street, you look left, you look right, you look left one more time, and then you go. It's ingrained in us, and it's not complicated. If you tell someone, hey, here's a method how to be safe, just do this, maybe you can be safe the whole time. It's possible. So do you remember those first scenarios I talked about, those dudes on their way to their concert from Texas? If this budtender went through a responsible vendor training program and a budtender certification program, they're different, then he would obviously tell these boys that edibles work differently. And guess what? This might seem crazy, but you're not supposed to eat the whole chocolate bar. I know you do that with Hershey's and with your Snickers. This is different. You're not supposed to eat the whole thing. In fact, you could probably get a lot of enjoyment out of this if you ate a tenth of it. And if one of your buddies starts having more fun than you do, hang out, dude. Just wait, because it's coming. We don't need a train wreck effect to catch up by eating more. A quality Budtender would explain that to these dudes, okay? And instead of recommending the Budtender's favorite strain, they should be listening to their customer. What are you trying to smoke for? Oh, you're going to a concert? I would hate to have you in the couch with an indica like Bubba Kush and have you sedated while everyone's jumping around and having fun. Why don't we get something in you that's going to help you move and groove? How about a sativa? Maybe a golden goat and my favorite island sweet skunk. How about that? Let's listen to our customers and their goals. That gram of wax to dab, tell you what, dudes. Inhaling paraffin and cutin, candle wax, isn't necessary. So maybe you should go with shatter instead. It's a much cleaner product. And I know your friends dab, but you guys just drove up from sea level. You're now a mile higher. So freebasing 99% THC out of a bong might not work out for you. Maybe, if you want to try a concentrate, break off a little chip of that shatter, put it on a bowl of flour, and go with it slowly and see how that works at first. Those parents with their sick child with epilepsy. A responsible vendor, Budtender, would inform these parents no amount of medical information will come from this dispensary, only from your physician, because it's not legal. But if there's some products that might be helpful for you here today, I recommend a CBD product. And I recommend that because I know CBD specifically has been shown to reduce the epileptic convulsions. And CBD doesn't have to be smoked. And it's non-psychoactive. Your little child can have a seizure-free day without being intoxicated or smoking anything by trying one of these transdermal patches, or maybe trying some of these tinctures and working with them on appropriate dosage methods. That is an example of what responsible vending looks like. Billions of dollars are transacted every year through the hands of Budtenders. Are you confident that your dispensary employees know the rules and regulations of this industry? Are you confident that edibles and concentrates sold from your shops aren't going to send people to the hospital accidentally? Has your dispensary gone through a responsible vendor program and a Budtender certification course? My name is Max Montrose. I'm with the Trichome Institute. Thank you.